Okay, so we're still talking about the Pythagorean theorem, and our objective for this video is I can find the distance between 2 points using Pythagorean theorem. Two sub-objectives are identify a right triangle and its sides, correctly set up and solve a problem using the Pythagorean theorem, define the length of the hypotenuse, and then correctly set up and solve a problem using the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of one of the legs. Okay, so we're looking at a distance on a coordinate plane. So sometimes finding the distance between points on a coordinate plane is as simple as looking at looking and counting the numbers of units, like graph A. As you can see on graph A, you can count from this point, and you know that it is 1, 2, 3 units. Okay? Now on graph B, it's a little bit different, because other times we might need to find the diagonal distance like in graph B. So what we're going to do is we're going to estimate the distance on the diagonal using the distance with the two legs of a right triangle. So to find the distance on a coordinate plane, we can create our own right triangle and use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the distance. The diagonal distance would then represent the hypotenuse, or C. Okay, so once again, we're going to have 2 points. We're going to create a right triangle. We're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the distance, and that will always give us the hypotenuse. So in these notes, you're just going to be looking for the hypotenuse, or leg C. Okay, so let's look at number 1 here. So it says use the Pythagorean theorem to find the distance between point A and B on each graph. Round the answers to the nearest tenth. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a straight line from starting here at point A. I'm going to draw a straight line up to where it is directly across from point B. Then I'm going to draw a leg across like this. Okay? So I'm going to rise and run, and then I'm going to draw my diagonal from point B to C, okay? And you can tell that I have, with this is my 90-degree angle, so of course this is side C, okay? So what I'm going to do to find the distance on leg A and leg B is I'm going to count the units. So just like counting slope, I'm going to start counting, and this is going to be my first place that I'm going to count. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. So this is 5 units going up. And then I'm going to start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 4 units going across. So now I'm going to put this information into the Pythagorean theorem. I have 5 square plus 4 square equals C squared. Well, I'm going to square 5 and get 25. I'm going to square 4 and get 16. And I'm going to add them together, and I'm going to get 41. I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of 41, and that's going to give me C equals 6.4. Okay, so let's look at number 2. Okay, so number 2, we have 2 points. We have point A and point B. So I'm going to draw a line directly down, and the line's going to stop where the line and the point on B meet directly across, and then I'm going to go across. Then I'm going to draw my diagonal line. So this is obviously my right angle, and this is C. So now I need to find the distance on A and B. So I'm going to count. So I'm going to count starting at A. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Notice I didn't count the first line as if I'm stepping. So I don't count 1 and then take a step. I take a step, and that's 1. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's going to give me 7 squared. Plus, and I'm going to count this side, 1, 2. That's going to give me 2 squared. So I'm going to square 7, and I'm going to get 49. I'm going to square 2, and I'm going to get 4. Then I'm going to add 49 and 2 together, and I'm going to get 51. Then I'm going to take the square root of 51, and I'm going to get C equals 7.1. Notice I didn't round it down. I left it the same. We get 7.1. Okay, so let's look at number 3 now. Okay, so let's look at 3. So I need to draw a straight line going up. And then across. And then I have my diagonal. Okay, so go ahead and count the distance on A. And A is going to be 8. So it's 8 squared. So I'm going to write 8 here. And then find the distance on B. And B is also 8 squared. So we put 8 right here. So we're looking for C. Okay, so 8 squared plus 8 squared. So 8 squared is 64 plus 64 equals C squared. 64 plus 64 gives me 128. And so the square root of 128 is going to be 11.3. So the distance from A to B on the diagonal is 11.3. Went through approximately 11.3 units. Okay, so let's look at 4 through 6. This is use the graph and the Pythagorean theorem to find the distance between the 2 points. So now I'm just given points. So now I have to actually graph my points. So I have -6 and 1, -4 and 5. So my first point is going to be at -6 and -1. Sorry, -6 and 1. And my second point is going to be at -4 and 5. So there's my 2 points. I'm going to draw 2 straight lines and create my diagonal. And I'm going to count the distance once again. The distance is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives me 4 square. And the distance here is 1, 2. So that gives me 2 square. So now we know that we have leg A and leg B. So we have 4 square plus 2 square. It's going to give me C square. Well, 4 square is going to give me 16 plus 2 square, which is going to give me 4. I'm going to add 16 plus 4 together, and I'm going to get 20. Then I'm going to find the square root of 20. And that's going to give me C equals 4.5, because if you notice, if you did this on your calculator and you type in the square root of 20, you got 4.47, so that means I'm going to round up that 4 to a 5, so it should be 4.5. Okay, so let's look at number 5. Go ahead and plot on your point number 5. The points, you have -7 and 7. So we have -7, 7. There's point. This can be point A. And then we have 4 and -3. So that can be point B. So we're going to draw a straight line up to point B, and then across, and then we're going to draw our diagonal. So now I'm going to count on A, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So it gives me 4. And then I'm going to count from this point here to B, and that's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm going to plug those into my formula here. I'm going to have 4 square plus 11 square equals C square. Because this is my right triangle and this is side C. So 4 squared gives me 16 plus 11 squared, which gives me 121. I'm going to add 16 and 121 together, and I'm going to get 137. I'm going to take the square root of 137 on my calculator, and I'm going to get 11.7. So C equals 11.7. Okay. Go ahead and do number 6 on your own. Okay, so in number 6, you should have gotten C equals 8.6. I have point 0 and 2, and a point at 7 and 7. I draw my right triangle. I can count the distance. The distance is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you could say leg A is 5, leg B is 7. We're looking for C. So you square 5 square plus 7 square equals C square. So 5 squared is 25 plus 49 equals C square. I'm going to add those together and get 74. I'm going to take the square root of 74 and we're going to get C equals 8.6. Okay, so number 8 says find the perimeter of the parallelogram. Okay, so this, if you see that this has 2 diagonal sides, well, these 2 diagonal sides are the same sides, and these 2 sides are also the same. Okay, so in order to find this, I need to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so I'm going to count my units, and I'm going to say that this is side A and this is side B. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have A is 4 squared plus B, which is 1, 2, 3, plus B is 3 squared, and that gives me C squared. Well, 16 plus 9. I'm going to add 16 together and get 25. And then the square root of 25 is 5. Okay? So now I need to do, I know that this is 5 and this is 5. So now I need to do is find the distance from here to here. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9. If this is 9, then this has to be 9. So I'm going to add 9 and 9 together and get 18. I'm going to add 5 and 5 together and get 10. And that's going to give me 28. So my answer is 28 units. Okay, so go ahead and go onto Canvas and do the distance on a coordinate plane quiz. And the questions will be from number 9. So you'll have to find A, B, and C. If you miss anything more than one question, you need to come see me. But you can do 9 on the paper and then enter the answers into Canvas.